Hello everyone, welcome to Club at 22, the Rangers podcast, and to a bit of a breaking news. I'm sure you've all seen it already, but to the news that Russell Martin has finally been sacked as Rangers manager. My name is Scott Carney and I'm here to bring my reaction to the long overdue news. Let's not be coy about it, but about 15-20 minutes ago the club released a statement that says Rangers Football Club even confirms that it has parted company with head coach Russell Martin. While on transition periods require some time, results have not met the club's expectations. Assistant head coach Matt Gill and first team coach Mike Williamson will also be departing. Russell and his staff have worked exceptionally hard throughout their time at the club. We thank them for their efforts and wish them well for the future. Further updates from the club will follow in due course. So my initial take on this is that I am absolutely delighted about it. I was just about to get myself all cosy, get myself sorted to go to bed, but Rangers have made my weekend. I'm not going to lie, they have absolutely made my weekend by finally announcing that Russell Martin will no longer be the manager of Rangers, or the head coach of Rangers going forward. And look, it's not just after today's performance. Scotia and myself brought a reaction earlier on, and today is just it's a calamity in every stretch of the imagination. It's poor standards throughout the club, poor performances from the players who don't escape criticism today because they had clearly chucked it under the manager, but there was only one way this was going to end. I think we all began to get the fear that this end wasn't going to come and we were going to continue roll on, disaster after disaster after disaster. But it's became quite evident a long time ago, really, that Russell Martin is not only a failed head coach, a failed tactician, a failed figurehead for our football club in terms of the guy that stands on the touchline. He's became probably the worst coach that I have seen in my lifetime for sure. I have nothing to give a glowing report about to say that he done this well or he done that well. I've been as Rangers manager. It's an appointment that didn't fit right from the start. I think it was quite clear from the majority of Rangers fans that not many of us wanted him as Rangers manager, and he definitely did nothing to change our opinion on that. And Russell Martin has finally been removed. I'm delighted at this news. I really am. I'm never one to celebrate a guy losing his job, but on this occasion, I am extremely happy because I had the real fear. I had the real fear about how long this was going to be dragged on for. Whether we were going to have to suffer a full season of it. It started to feel like we were going to have to suffer a full season of it. But even as, just after today, it's not possible for the guy to continue on. It really wasn't. Today is just a nonsense, really, from Rangers. And again, I mean no disrespect to Falkirk, I really don't, but 2 shots on target against Falkirk, when Falkirk have 4 shots on target against you, you can't honestly stand in front of a camera and believe that you are the man to make a real difference to this football club, because he was never going to. Today was just the straw that broke the straw of the straw of the straw of the straw of the straw that broke the camel's back. We all knew it was coming. We all knew it was coming, and whether it's too late or not, that's another conversation for another time. I am just absolutely delighted that it's happened and it's now been announced that Martin's gone. And I don't think I've ever been this happy. Generally, I don't think I've ever been this happy with a Rangers manager getting sacked and moving on from the football club. It's not nice to be like that, and I take no pride in it being like that. But for my sanity, for all of our sanities, for the rest of this season, at the very least, it gives us all a wee bit of that hope that had quite quickly disappeared. And probably as far back as after the Motherwell game, I think we all knew that the writing was on the wall. Martin's downfall was his arrogance, his ignorance, and his sheer reluctance to change anything that he believed what his ideology of football was. That is my personal opinion. I still believe there is players within that squad that are good players, maybe great players, generally maybe great players, but to play in a way that doesn't only discourage them from being them sort of players, but it's so unbelievably rigid and strict that it limits their basic ability to play football. It limits their instincts as football players, and that is everything that I thought we were seeing under Russell Martin. We have talented players in that squad, and I still stand to this day to I can't even remember what game it was I said after it, but I said any manager within the Scottish League would get a tune out of these players and certainly put in better performances than what we've been seeing. And I still stand by that. I really do stand by that. I also think the the way that Russell Martin came into the job initially, not many people want me here, etc. He kind of had his backup before it even started. When that is the case, to coming into a job, and it's just my take on it. I've never been in the situation where I've got a job where I thought the rest of the guys didn't think that I expected to get it or the likes. But try and endear yourself. Try and make yourself likable. Try and make yourself relatable to fans. Try and get fans on your side. Whereas I found most of the time that he found just going, well, none of you wanted me anyway, so I'm just going to keep continuing to do what is clearly failing. It was a bit of a bit of a what's the word that what's the word that I can't remember the saying. An unstoppable force meets an immovable object. Is that it? If I finally got there, but that's kind of what it was with him, because the fans never adhered to him. We didn't ever think to the point where, all right, okay, right, I get where he's coming from. He is trying his hardest. We are seeing this. We are seeing that. We didn't see anything. Russell Martin's football was awful. I mean, truly awful. I think most people will agree that it's up there with the worst that we've probably ever seen. And nothing improved. He got to the point where he wasn't only gaslighting fans, but he was clearly showing signs of a guy that didn't care. He was clearly showing the guys that was the signs of a guy that was just standing there shrugging his shoulders, continuously trying to pick stuff out his teeth as if he just ate a Sunday roast. And he just didn't help himself in any stretch of the imagination. He, in my personal opinion, I'm sorry to beat the guy while he's down. I really do. But he'll struggle to get employment after this. I think he's been found out. I really do. I think this is clear as day that he's been found out. I still stand by that this is a Thelwell appointment. This is the guy that decided this. He is Russell Martin's pal and thought, I'll bring him in. He'll be the guy that will do the job for me. They might have a good working relationship, yes, but my goodness, he got that completely wrong. He really did. And Russell Martin was found out. Really found out in a quite horrible way. Also, with these contradictory terms of things that he used to say, in terms of on the Sunday after the game against Livy, he's talking about how the players stuck together, got the job done together, wanted them to celebrate the moment. 4 days later, questioned their ability. 24 hours after that, or less than 24 hours after that, he said, no, the mentality's great. The guy was fumbling about in the dark. He really was. He was just a lost cause, really, from all aspects, in terms of tactical, in terms of approach, in terms of how to present himself, and he represented everything that I don't expect in a Rangers manager. He didn't have any of the qualities, any of the standards that we all probably expect as Rangers manager. Whether they're right or wrong or not, it is what it is, and it's our standards of our football club, and we will never deviate from that. And unfortunately, Russell Martin he's not that guy. He's not that guy to stand on that touchline in that dugout and to give us real inspiration. He couldn't give inspiration to the players. He certainly didn't give inspiration to me. And yeah, as you can tell by, I've hardly stopped smiling tonight. The news is more than welcomed from me tonight. Yes, we can't keep sacking managers. Well, you can. You can keep sacking managers if it's guys like that. Generally, you have to make the right appointment. That is not the right appointment. That's been an unmitigated failure from the start to the end of Russell Martin's tenure. It has been an unmitigated failure, and it was always going to end one way. At the same time, I'm happy that it's happened, and I'm happy that it's finally happened, and it's not going to go on any longer. However, it shouldn't have got. We should not be in the 5th of October. And I know that's early in a season. I do get that as well, but we shouldn't be in the 5th of October when we made this decision. It was clear from the start that this was never going to work. This was always going to. It was always going to end one way, and it has. And yeah, I'm delighted about it. I am. I can't hide my joy about it. I am absolutely delighted that guy's gone, because I can't stand listening to him anymore. Even his post-match comments and everything tonight, I was like, nah, this can't continue to go on. It really cannot continue. So he's gone. He's left us in a horrific position in the league. He's left us in a horrific position in the Europa League, and that's all because we have not progressed. We have regressed at a rapid rate, an absolute rapid rate, under Russell Martin, and we have an uphill battle for the rest of this season. In terms of going forward, who do I want? If I had to pick somebody right now, it would be Steven Gerrard. People always say, why do you never put your cards on the table? So I will say it right now. It would be Steven Gerrard. My biggest reason for that, it's a guy that understands this football club. It's a guy that will set standards, and it's a guy that will demand respect, and they will respect him no matter what decision he decides to make, because of his stature, because of his aura, because of the way that he carries himself. A guy that we all respect, I would say the majority of Rangers fans respect, and a guy that has a real understanding of just the size of the job that is in front of him. Whether it be long-term, short-term, I don't know. I honestly don't know whether Rangers will decide to go down the interim basis. Again, I don't really know. But if I had to put someone forward for it, it would be Steven Gerrard. And I think it's an easy link to make, but it would feel like a safe pair of hands considering what we've just had to suffer under the very short, brief, unmitigated disaster tenure of Russell Martin. And Gerrard is just one of those guys that I think we can all say he would get a tune out of these players. This is a team that has had investment into it. It is a team that I believe that there is some strong players in. I genuinely do think there is some strong players in there that we could be getting more out of. And no matter who comes in, it has to be a manager that knows that they can extract something more from this team than what Russell Martin was able to. The easy link is going to be made, and it's going to be Sean Dyche. I reckon he'll rush to the front runner of the bookies about being the bookies' favourite, purely because of his relationship with Thelwell. So I would expect Sean Dyche to be pretty nailed on favourite to get this job, but that also concerns me. And as much as I can praise the current decision in order to remove Russell Martin, I still have to question why they were led down the garden path to think that he was the right guy for this job, when he was linked and he became the front runner for the job, that the majority of fans said, well, that's not going to work. And indeed we were right. We were correct about that. When we appointed Russell Martin, I decided to myself, I'll get behind him, because what else can you do in that situation? I would never say that I was confident that the guy was going to be a success at the club. I always wanted him to be, because if he's a success, Rangers are a success, etc. It's a knock-on effect. I don't have to explain that too much, but in my heart of hearts, I didn't think for a second that he was going to be the guy that would change our fortunes, to build a winning side, to build a style of football that we would all relate to. And I just didn't think he was a manager that would demand respect either. He's just not a guy that you can think players would look at and think he's got an aura about him. He's got something about him that I want to run for. He's got something about that I want to dig for. He never seemed like that guy. I can't criticise it that other people in terms of other managers we've had previously. I think Gio, the nice guy in that he was, I still think players would have worked hard for him. Same as Clement even. I still think players would have worked hard for him, because he did have a slight aura in the fact that he was a very big gentleman as well. But with Russell Martin, did any of you really feel that he was the correct guy? Did anybody really think that this was going to be something that we could get behind? Because in your heart of hearts, you kind of knew. So the board now really, to save any sort of credibility, have to come out and admit they were wrong. I don't expect an open lettered apology or anything like that, but I expect an admission that they've made a big mistake in terms of who they appointed, and it's not been the correct path that they want to follow. And now the club have to do their homework properly here. And I'm not talking Thelwell's homework in terms of just looking up for his son's number on his phone and giving him a call. We have to get the correct guy now. Be it Gerrard, be it Dyche, be it whoever, these guys still have to be the correct guys to take the club forward. So I say my take, my my opinion, just because, again, I'm a Steven Gerrard fanboy, and I always have been, and people have known that since you watched the podcast. But I would have him back in a heartbeat, just purely because it's a guy that I think understands my football club, and it's a guy that I think that I can respect, and a guy that I can look up to, and a guy that I think the players can, and a guy that the players can relate to. It wasn't always rosy under Steven Gerrard. I'm not going to say that it wasn't, that it was, but it's a guy that would immediately, I think, make us competitive. Sean Dyche will be the one, as I say, though. And look, am I keen on that? I'm not 100% sure of where I am. But I think that's probably a conversation that we'll have later in the week, maybe, about who will replace Russell Martin. Obviously, there's going to be plenty more that's going to come out in the wash over the next couple of days, you would imagine. There'll be probably further statements from the club. I'd imagine you're going to have an interview now from Thelwell and from Patrick Stewart, just regarding what way the club's going to go. Maybe even Parag Marathi, he might even now do a video as well due to this decision being made. But the rumours start to pick up pace pretty quickly, especially after seeing Russell Martin leave himself from the Falkirk Stadium. I think that told its own story, I'm not going to lie. The fact that he didn't leave on the team bus, be it under this nonsense you want to get classed as safety grounds or whatever else, is just a lot of nonsense. As soon as I seen that, I immediately went, I'll put the feelers out now, have a chat with a few people and see what was happening, and gain traction pretty quickly that it looked like he was gone, and the club have released a statement tonight to say that he has. So that will do Russell Martin for tonight and for his Rangers career. I think we're all happy that it's finally came to it. And look, as I say, I was just back on the game today. There's nothing that I can look in that Rangers team that I've seen tonight that I've seen this afternoon that I think, we're making real progress. We're making real inroads in terms of how we want to play football to become a dominant force in this country. And no matter of Russell Martin's excuse of young players, system, the pitch, whatever else, it really is irrelevant when you consider the level of money that goes into our team in terms of wages, in terms of buying players, the fees for players that they cost. We should be beating Falkirk. They're a newly promoted team to this league. They're not in a great run of form. They're sitting second bottom. I know that's only 2 places below where we are, but still, we should be beating them. We really should, and we should certainly be having more than 2 shots on goal. That Rangers team under Russell Martin were almost allergic to making chances. We just couldn't do it. It literally just didn't work, and he refused to change it. The only time he did was when he had to fling things at a wall and hope that it stuck. So yes, it's over for Russell Martin. Rangers move on to look for his successor now, and I'll be interested to see who we are linked with. But that's probably a discussion for another day. It's just my reaction to tonight is I'm delighted. I think it's the best move the club could have made. They took too long to get to this decision, but they have took it now. And we'll look forward to see what the reaction is from Thelwell, from Stewart, and from the owners regarding the next moves for our football club. But yes, as you'll know, is that Russell Martin has been removed as Rangers head coach, along with his assistant and the first team coach even have also been removed as well. They will leave the club with immediate effect. Hurrah! Thank God. Honestly, thank the Lord, because I wasn't looking forward to any more of that. It's a perfect time to do it. Look, we're into an international break now. Things I would imagine will move quite quickly. You have to hope there's some form of contingency plan in place, and that the owners, again, this is just out of hope. You have to think that the owners, the board, have seen this coming for quite a while, and you'd like to hope that things are already in motion and the feelers have already been out there about who's going to take over. But who that'll be, we'll discuss that when we get to it. But just for tonight, let's just bask in the glory that we don't need to watch another Russell Martin team play football for Rangers. So I'm delighted about it. The players have their own element of responsibility to take. Some of the ones that have been here for a while as well also do. But there is no doubt that the majority of what we've seen this season, in my opinion, the majority of what we've seen from this season has been a failure from our head coach and our coaching team. And we've removed that now. So let's move on. Let's get a new manager. Let's start again. And the new owners need to come out, admit their mistake. Let's try and wipe the slate clean even, and move forward from it. So you've got to hope. Thank you for tuning in to listen to me celebrate the fact that a guy's lost his job. But I'm very happy that Russell Martin, I don't need to listen to the guy anymore. I'm absolutely delighted about it. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, all the usual stuff. We will be back with more reaction early in the week to this as more comes out in the wash as well. But thank you for tuning in late on a Sunday night. I'm sure that's put some spring in our step after a disappointing 1-8 draw with Falkirk. And we'll pick it up again early in the week. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast, and I'll speak to you when we are back on. Thank you, everybody. Good night.